require for organization to fulfill. Yeah, that's number one. Number two, what you need to do for your company in order to fulfill those requirements. Okay, so I think group one you have to discuss first. You have to explain first. Yeah, if you have a slide to share, you can share. If not, yeah, you just explain. Yeah, then we discuss in class. Okay, so we start with group one, 4.1. 4 is context of organization. 4.1 is understanding the organization and its context. So we start with group one. You can share. If you have your slide, you can share your slide. If you don't have the slide, then you can explain. Right. So group one, 4.1. For other member, if you don't understand, you can ask. Okay, you can ask group one or you can ask in this class. So if I have the answer, I can respond it. Okay. So we start with 4.1, understanding the organization and its context. Right.
So Doctor can start, right?
Okay. Yes, you can start.
Okay. So basically, content of the organization key requirement ISO 9001. The first is clause 4. So content of the organization key requirement. Key requirement is determine, monitor, and review external and internal issues. Determine, monitor, and review relevant interested parties. So basically, this involved in external content and internal content. So external content is political, cultural, social, and then for internal is product and service offering, government, organization structure, and roles. So there are three notes we have to follow. The first is can include positive and negative factors for condition of consideration. And second is understanding the external content that I mentioned earlier, like cultural, social, economic, environment. And then the third is internal content. Internal content something like assets, policy, and goals, and the strategy in the place to achieve them. So next is
No, before you go to the next, okay? What you need to do for in your organization to fulfill this requirement? What you need to do?
to
What you need to
establish.
do in your organization? You have your company, right? You have your company already. You have your product already for group one. So what you need to do in your organization, in your company, in order to fulfill this requirement?
First, we must identify the strength and weakness threat of opportunity in our organization before we establish something.
How you want to determine? How you want to determine the external issues?
From term of quality of our product and customer complaints.
How?
Economical factor, Doctor.
Yes. I know. I know. You want to determine that. Okay. But how?
We determine from if example if our product. So we have to identify the strength and weakness means we must release the product in market and the customer will give feedback on it so we can repair and.
But how? How you want to determine the external and internal issues?
From term of for external content we facilitate in term of technology and competitive market, and then the internal content we will determine by consider issue related to the value of culture and knowledge.
How? Okay, in my class, if you refer to your seniors, basically, I will ask until I will get the answer that it should be. Okay, So selagi saya tak dapat jawapan tu, saya akan tanya sehingga saya dapat jawapan yang sepatutnya. So maknanya you kena okay, if other members can help, how you want to determine the internal and external issues for your organization. Other members can help, no
I
problem. Yeah.
I think that the organization have to set a group for determine the strength and weakness or threat and opportunity from the like make a database to collect the feedback from the customers and
Okay, you say you are doing a SWOT analysis for your company.
yeah.
Okay, good. That is the answer that I want to hear. Okay. So in order to determine the internal and external issues, you have to do a SWOT like a SWOT analysis of your company. Then we can identify this one is internal issues, this one is external. This is our strength, this is our weakness. Yeah, all those things that you need to do. Yeah. Okay, good. You are the same group, Nathan and Pang Chi. You are the same
One
group,
more.
Huh?
One more analysis, doctor. Pestle analysis.
Okay, pastel, whatever analysis. Yeah, towards that can identify internal and external issues. You can do, but you have to address in your system later. In your assignment one, when you want to write a quality manual, you must address in your quality manual what you want to do, like SWOT, pastel, whatever. Okay, understand? Understand or not?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, right. So that is 4.1. You got that. And then how you want to monitor and how you want to review the information. How you want to monitor and how you want to review the information of internal and external issues. Because there are two requirements here. One is you need to determine. Okay? Because there are two shall here. The organization shall determine internal and external issues. That's number one. Number two, the organization shall monitor and review. That is number two requirement. So how you want to monitor and review of your internal and external issues? Hello?
Yes, doctor.
You have to understand the requirement, okay? I told you already, if you found the word shall, SHALL, that means the requirement. That means you must do. Okay? In 4.1, you can see two times. One is the first line. The organization shall determine internal and external issues. And then the second paragraph, the organization shall monitor and review. So those are two things that you have to address in your system. Okay. So number one, you say you do SWOT analysis. How about number two? How you want to monitor and review
For the
internal and external issues? Ah, come on. Hello?
Doctor, can I try?
Okay, try. No problem.
For this one,
If you are from other group also you can try. No problem. This is open discussion.
for this one, we can use a policy statement regarding organization purpose and strategic direction.
Okay. But
And
how?
then is
But how? How to monitor and review? You using what? You using what forum?
Doctor, outsources process.
Pardon?
Outsources process.
Outsource process. You want to outsource the monitor. You want to outsource the review. Cannot. This is your baby. This is your organization. How come you want to outsource? You cannot. How? How to monitor and review? Any idea? No idea. Very simple. You can do what? That one is pastel, okay? That one is for number one, you identify. So, very simple. You can do what? You review through management meeting. That's all. Then you have to set how many times you need to meeting, how many you need to meet. Okay? So, through management meeting, for example, and then you can monitor, and then you need to review. All can be done by management meeting. Okay, understand? Then you have to decide how many times you want to meet in a year, for example. Maybe 2 times per year, 3 times per year, 4 times per year. Who involved in the meeting? Maybe the head of department that need to involve in the meeting, or maybe who else? You need to identify. Okay, so this is how you monitor and review those information. Yeah. Okay, boleh faham?
Boleh, sir.
Boleh faham? Can understand or not?
Yes.
Alright, good. 4.1 settled. No, now go 4.2. 4.2. Who's going to explain 4.2? Nantia also? Nityan?
Yes, Doctor. 4.2 is me, and then 4.3 and 4.4 another guy.
Okay, continue. 4.2.
4.2 is understanding the needs and expectation of interested parties. So the requirement is address the desire and demand of all those who may interest in this organization, and then it should allow the time to develop an understanding of our business internal and external stakeholder interests. So the organization shall determine the interest parties that are relevant to the quality management system, and then the requirement of these parties that are relevant to quality management system. So for example, this requirement for ISO certification, we should also determine whether these groups requires a review and update our changes in their requirement occur. Then continual improvement when the changes to our organization planned by QMS.
Okay, that's all. Okay, you need to understand. This is not only for this group. Every group you have to understand, because later on when you want to develop your system and you want to complete your assignment number one, you have to understand the entire requirement. Okay, yeah. Otherwise, you will not able to develop your own system. Okay. 4.2. What are the requirement? Yeah, if you say here, if you see here, the organization shall determine. Okay, shall determine what? Two things that they need to determine. Number one, they need to determine interested parties. That is the requirement. They need to determine the interested parties. So my question is, how you want to determine interested parties in your organization? That one you have to address in your system. Yeah. Who are the interested parties you need to determine for your product? Beside customers. Yeah. Customers, of course. Customer is one. The other parties, rather selain daripada customer, siapa? You need to identify. You need to determine. Okay. So who are the interested parties for your organization. Okay, and number one, you need to determine interested parties. Number two, you need to determine the requirement of the interested parties. What are their needs? You need to determine. Okay, so those are the requirement. First requirement. The second requirement, you shall monitor and review also the information that you get from the interested parties. Sama dengan tadi, but now tadi kita cerita tentang internal and external issues. You need to determine and review also. Here is interested parties. You need to determine who are the interested parties and what are their requirements, and you have to monitor and review those the interested parties as well as their requirement. So you need to find ways. You need to find a method how to determine the interested parties and their requirement. Maybe you can do through SWOT analysis, to pastel, whatever. Apa lagi yang you boleh, you can do a survey. You can survey your interested parties to find out their requirement. And then how to monitor, again, maybe through meeting, through special meeting, through special discussion, or whatever method that you consider as appropriate, to fulfill this requirement for your company. Okay, understand or not how to read this requirement, how to read this standard? When you found a word shall, that is the requirement, but you have to think how to fulfill this requirement, and you have to address it in your system later. Okay, boleh faham? Can understand?
Yes, sir.
Alright, good. So you have to find ways also to understand the need and expectation of interested parties. Okay, 4.3. Okay, 4.3. Siapa buat 4.3? Who want to explain?
Saya, sir.
Okay. Alright, continue.
Okay, 4.3 is to determine the scope of the QMS.
Okay.
And we have to understand the limits that we can do and the capability to build up the organization scope by the QMS. And we consider for three things. And the first is external and internal issues. Second is requirements of the relevant interested parties and products, service of the organization.
Okay. You tengok ada banyak shell kan dekat sini kan. Number satu, the first sentence you can see the shell already. The organization shall determine the boundaries. Okay, that's number one. And then the organization shall consider. You have to consider A, B, C. Alright. And then the organization shall apply the requirement of this of this standard. Okay. And then the scope of your QMS shall be available. That is also a requirement. The scope of of your QMS shall be available, shall be maintained, as documented information. So you have to understand. Number one, you must make sure that your scope is available. Number two, you must make sure that your scope is maintained. What is the meaning of maintain?
Will not change but follows the scope that QMS.
No. Maintains mean when we maintain in quality management system, maintain is we need to review and revise if necessary. That is maintained. If your scope is, you develop a certain scope, then your scope need to be reviewed and revised if necessary. That we call maintain.
Oh.
Faham? Maintain mean you have to review, yeah, and
Revise.
if you review, if it need change, you need to change or revise if necessary. That is maintained. That's maintained in our system. Okay, so you have to you must make sure that your scope is available. Yeah. So every company, yeah, we have 4 company in our class. So every company should have your scope, your own scope, and you must make sure that your scope is available, and you must make sure that your scope is maintained and as documented information. What does it mean by documented information? What does it mean by documented information?
Have to save the scope.
Yeah. Documented information means you have to write,
Yeah.
have in a written form.
Mm.
Okay, you have to write your scope in a written form. It cannot be verbal. Okay, you have to write somewhere, somehow. Yeah, and you must make sure that your scope is available. Yeah, you have to write. If you found a word documented information, it must be in a written form. It's not verbal. Understand?
Yes.
Okay. So those are the things that you have to do. Yeah. And then you can read further. The scope shall state type of product and service cover, produk apa yang you buat. Kalau you buat produk, is produk lah. Kalau you supply service, kalau you bagi service, is service lah. Yeah. So the scope shall state what product, yeah, and provide justification for any requirement of this standard that the organization determine is not applicable to the scope of the QMS. Okay, in your scope, if you found that any requirement of this standard which is not applicable, you can exclude those requirements. But if you exclude, you must give justification for any exclusion. Boleh faham?
Boleh.
For example, if you are not doing design, you just produce your product. Design is done by other people. Other people give you the design, you just produce it. So you are not include your company not doing design, for example. So if you are not doing design, you can exclude 8.3, for example. So 8.3 is what? 8.3 is we haven't discussed yet, but 8.3 is design requirement. So we can exclude design if we are not doing design. But when you exclude 8.3, for example, you must give justification for the exclusion of those requirements. Boleh? So that is what it means here. It means justification for any requirement of this international standard that the organization determine is not applicable. Okay. Number 1, you have to have the scope. Number 2, you must make sure your scope is available. Number 3, you must maintain your scope. Number 4, you must write your scope. Yeah. Number 6, you must make sure that the scope covers all the requirement. If not applicable, you must exclude those requirements but give justification in the scope. Okay. All right. So those are the scope of your system. Later on, you need to develop your scope for your own company, for your QMS. Then you must make sure that the scope that you develop fulfill all this requirement 4.3. You must mention how you want to maintain your scope, how you want to how you want to make sure your scope is available. Yeah, you must address in your system. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. So that is 4.3. Understanding the limitation. Okay, that was okay. Lagi? Ada apa lagi you nak explain? 4.3. Okay, 4.4. 4.4 is quality management system and its processes. Okay. Who want to explain this?
Me too.
Okay. All right.
Okay. For management system processes, we have to adopt what specific requirement necessary when we are doing the implementation and improving a management system. And
Yes.
this require we also define and manage processes and their interactions. So we have to use the and strategy direction for the organizations to manage the processes.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to know what we require for the input and what expected our output and
Mm-hmm.
sequence and interaction,
Mm-hmm.
know the criteria and method to maybe to do the input and how we sell the products or service.
Mm-hmm.
We also have to know what resources we needed to do the input and
Mm-hmm.
responsibilities and authorities, and we have to know the risks and opportunities um, of our organizations and evaluate, ensure that the processes achieve the goal and improve the processes and the quality management system. And
Okay.
what I'll do is to maintain the documented
Mm-hmm.
information to support
Mm-hmm.
operation of
Mm-hmm.
its processes and retain the documented information to have confidence.
Okay. All right. All right. 4.4 quality management system and its processes. Okay. 441. Yeah. I hope everybody got the printed copy of ISO 9000 with you. Okay. In class. Everybody, yeah, should have a printed copy. Now we are referring to page number 2, 441 in ISO 9001. Page 2. Okay. Make sure that you print the standard and make sure that you have the standard beside you during the class. Very important. Otherwise, you cannot follow. Right? Okay. So 441. You look at the first sentence. The first sentence of the standard. It says that shall. You can find a word shall. Organization shall. Shall what? Shall what? Number one, shall establish. Establish what? Establish quality management system. Establish the system. Number one. Number one, you must establish the system. Number two, you must implement the system. Number three, you must maintain the system. And number four, you must improve your system. Continually improve your system. So there are four things that you need to do. You have to implement, you have to establish, you have to implement, you have to maintain, and you have to improve. That is the requirement. If if you are not established, if you are not implement, if you are not maintain, if you are not improve, then you will not fulfill the requirement 441. Okay. All right. So those are the things that you have to do lah. Yeah, you have to do four things, and then number two, you can see that the organization shall determine the processes needed for the quality management system and their application throughout the organization. Yeah, and shall determine the input and output, the sequence of interaction, determine the criteria, and so on. Yeah, the acceptance criteria and so on, monitoring method and so on. Yeah, all these requirements basically you can fulfill. You can fulfill by doing what we call a business process flow. Yeah, what you need to do is you need to establish or you need to develop your business process flow. Yeah, if you develop your business process flow from the input until the from input is customer requirement until our product, the output is the product, and you get a customer satisfaction. All the processes, all the interaction between the processes is governed in one system. So you should have a business process flow to show that you fulfill this requirement. Okay. All right. So you can put A, B, C, D, E, F, okay, G in one flow. Yeah. And H. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H until H. Yeah. In one flow. In one diagram, what we call is your business process flow. Okay. All right. And then 442, when necessary, it says that you shall maintain documented information. This is you have to understand, okay? Maintain documented information and retain documented information. What is the difference between maintain documented information and retain documented information? Apa beza dia? What is the difference between those two? Okay. You see 442 A and B. A, it says that you must maintain documented information. Number two, you must retain documented information. What is the difference between those two? Hello?
Yes, sir.
What is the difference between those two?
Uh,
Hmm. Hello? Everybody with me? Yes. To the extent necessary, the organization shall maintain documented information and retain documented information. So number one is maintain, number two is retain. My question is, what is the difference between those two?
maintain to what we have we save the process, the management system process, and retain is to uh, s-
Hmm. Hmm. Hello.
uh,
You discuss in group ataupun you bagi-bagi kawan-kawan ni? You bagi, you buat di, you tak discuss lah. You supposed to discuss, okay? Maintain is keep in existing, retain is keep in mind. Okay. Not quite, not quite. Come on.
Doctor,
Yeah.
for retain is to keep something which you already have. And then for maintain is to provide all things necessary to assist a thing to continue. That include financial support where necessary, as well as topping up the oil in our car engine and clearing our window.
But in this clause, it says maintain documented information and retain documented information. Both are documented information, okay? Both are a written information. Yeah. Like this standard. This standard is the standard that you have in your hand now. The standard is a documented information. Okay. The standard is we consider documented information because it is in a written form, documented. Okay. The requirement says we shall maintain this documented this information. Then other requirement is to retain the documented information. So maintain means you have to what? You have to do what if maintain? Maintain means you have to review and revise if necessary. So this standard, this standard can be reviewed and revised if necessary, but you have no authority to review this standard lah, because this standard is not belong to you. Yeah, this standard belong to ISO, belong to International Organization for Standardization. So belong to them. So they are the one who can maintain it. They are the one who can review and revise if necessary. Yeah. So this standard has been revised how many times already? Started from 87, then 94, 2000, 2008, 2015. It's about 4 times revision already. Yeah. So that is maintained. Yeah. Review and revise if necessary. Retain means you cannot revise. You cannot revise. Retain means you keep the record. Yeah, you keep the record. That is retain. Yeah. So whatever you retain, you cannot revise. Yeah, whatever that you retain, yeah, you cannot revise. But whatever you maintain, you can revise. You can review and revise. Okay. So record we cannot revise. Record we just retain the record. Okay, we just retain the record. We just keep the record. We just make sure that the record is properly kept. Yeah. So that is the difference between retain and maintain. Retain is just keep the record and keep the documented information. Maintain is you need to review and revise if necessary. Boleh faham?
Boleh.
So retain means you cannot revise. You just keep. Make sure that whenever you want to use it later on, you can access it easily. So those are the requirements that you have to fulfill. So you have to mention in your system. You have to mention in your system how you want to maintain the record, how you want to retain the record, how you want to maintain the documented information, and how you want to retain the documented information. Yeah. So later on, when you go to clause 7, yeah, they are talking about how to keep those documented information. Yeah. Maybe you can refer to clause 7 later. That's why you have to 7.5. Yeah. 7.5, they have a documented information requirement. Yeah. So maybe for in your system, maybe you can refer to 7.5, for example, how to maintain and how to retain your documented information. Okay. That is 4. That is 4. 442. 442, right? So that's all. Clause 4. Right. So in conclusion, okay. the gist of clause 4 is what? What is the heart of clause 4? Clause 4 require you to do what? Clause 4 require you huh? To do what? Yeah? Clause 4 asks you to hello. Hello. Clause 4.
Yes, doctor.
In general, in a nutshell, the gist of clause 4 is what?
Determine the criteria of effective process operation and control.
Okay. The gist of clause 4 is the standard require you to develop your quality management system. Yeah, you have to develop your quality management system. Yeah. Then the standard require you to implement your system. The standard require you to maintain your system, and the standard require you to improve your system. So that is the gist of class 4. Yeah. Whatever it is, you have to have your own system. You have to implement your system. You have to maintain your system, and you have to improve your system. Okay, so I expect that every group later on, every group, you have your own company, and in your company you have your own system. Yeah, you have different products, so you need to have your own system. Okay, so that is clause 4. Now we go to clause 5, group 2. Where is group 2? Okay, group 2, leadership. Okay, clause 5, group 2. Right, continue.
Okay, I will
The
start.
rest, the rest of the members, you can ask question. Ask to group 2. For example, ask them to explain. Okay, continue.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and good afternoon. I am
Okay,
from Group 2. My name is Aini Firhani.
okay,
Our group will present Clause 5. Clause 5 is about leadership.
okay, okay. Continue.
Okay, I will continue. Okay, first we go to the 5.1 leadership and commitment. 5.1.1 is general. First, section 5 taking accountability for the effectiveness of the quality management system. Example is establish measure system or process performance monitoring. Are you clear, doctor?
Yeah.
Okay. Management review, relation of planet activity, adjustment of planet result, and taking action when process performance is not meeting intended result. B is ensuring that the quality policy and quality objectives are established for the quality management system and are compatible with the content and strategy direction of the organization. Example is content of organization, external or issue. C is ensuring that the integration of the quality management system requirement into the organization business process. Example is system architecture, business model, process model, organization footprint, functional agreement, like engineering, purchasing, information technology, finance, and human resource. And D is promoting the use of the process approach and risk-based thinking. Example is process modeling, process mapping, input, output, activity, interaction, interface, resource control, risk management, identification, verify, ownership, treatment, and others. Next slide. E. Ensuring that the resource needed for the quality management system are available. Then I pass to my next member, Nufakira.
Okay, before that,
Yes.
okay. Let's see. 5 is leadership, okay? Leadership, just title, leadership. 5.1 is leadership and commitment. Okay, 5.1, it says 5.1.1, yeah, it says that top management shall. Okay, my first question to you is, who are the top management? Because it start here is top management. We must understand who is the top management first before we continue with the requirement. Okay, so it says here top management shall demonstrate leadership and commitment, blah 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 blah. So my question is, who is the top management, or rather, who are the top managements?
Example of top management,
Siapa dia?
like CEO in company.
CEO.
Yeah.
Lagi?
Manager,
Manager. Lagi?
supervisor,
Lagi? Okay. Alright. So kita tak boleh teka-teka dalam standard, dalam requirement, we cannot teka-teka. Kita kena go back to the definition, term and definition. Yeah. So kalau kita tengok ISO 9000, okay, ISO 9000, not ISO 9001, okay. So any term in ISO 9001, kita kena refer kepada ISO 9000. If you look at ISO 9000 requirement, ISO 9000, the term for top management, yeah, is page 10 in your standard ISO 9000. Yeah, top management is defined as a person or group of people who direct and control an organization at the highest level. So itu dia punya definition dia. Definition of top management is a person or a group of people. So meaning to say that top management can be one person, or 2 people, or 3 people, or 4 or 5. Yeah. So it can be a person or a group of people who direct, yeah, and control organization at the highest level. So if you talk about your organization, your company, the highest level is your what? Who is your highest level in your organization chart? Maybe your CEO, maybe your manager or your director, maybe. Yeah. So those in organization, in a large scale of organization, so those are the people. Those are we consider as a top management. But if you consider in unit base or department base or section base, if you're in the section, you have a section head, right? In your department, you have department head. In your section, any function in organization who has a leader, that leader we consider as a top management. Yeah. Maybe your shift leader, maybe your your supervisor, maybe your manager, maybe your siapa lagi dalam organisasi, ya, yang control and direct a certain function in organization. Yeah. So when we talk about, so you have to be clear. Yeah. So top management is a person or a group of people who direct and control an organization at the highest level. Yeah. So kalau section is your section head. Kalau department is your department head. Yeah. Sometimes we have a general manager to cover all. So those are the top management. You have to understand that. Okay. So I suppose that you have your own organization chart for your company already. So the head of the section or the head of department we consider as a top management. So that number one you have to understand. The first one. So what is the requirement of top management? Number one, so they shall demonstrate leadership. Of course, if you are top management, you must show your leadership skill, your leadership behavior. Number one, you must lead your subordinate. You must lead your people. Yeah. And then number two, you must commit. You must show your commitment. With respect to the QMS. And then all this lah. Yeah. This is the A, B, C, D, E, F until J. Yeah, is your responsibility. Is the top management responsibility to make sure that they are committed. They showing a leadership ability and they are committed to the QMS. So they must communicate the importance of the QMS. They must promote improvement. They must support the other management role and so on. So these are the responsibility of top management. A, B, C, D, E, F, G until J. Yeah, depends on your depend on your company lah. Depend on your organization. Alright. So that is 511. Okay, 52. 512. Sorry, 512. 511 is done. 512. Hello. Hello, 512. Okay, no need. That is just the responsibility. Look. Next slide is 512. Okay, stop dulu. Ini apa dia ni? What should okay, focus on, okay. Okay, next slide you want to show what? 4C. Okay. Hmm. 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 Okay. Clause 5 basically is dia nak menerangkan ataupun dia nak letak satu requirement terhadap top management. Pertama sekali, dia kata top management shall demonstrate leadership and commitment with respect to the QMS. Itu kita tahu apa yang dia kena buat. Dia kena buat A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H until J. Okay, so that is the responsibility of top management in order to show that the top management demonstrate leadership and commitment. Okay, so in terms of customer focus, top management also they have to do the same thing. They have to demonstrate leadership and commitment as well. But for 511 is for the QMS. The 512 basically is on customer focus. Yeah, to make sure that number one, customer requirement are, okay, you must read like this. Customer requirement are determined. Number one, they need to determine customer requirement. Number two, they need to understand the requirement of the customer. Number three, they need to meet the requirement of customer. That is the first thing that they have to do. Okay, that is customer requirement. And then you have to understand also, selain daripada customer requirement, you also need to pay particular attention on the statutory and regulatory requirement, or other word we call legal requirement. So there are two requirements that you have to focus on. First is customer requirement. The second one is a legal requirement, statutory or regulatory requirement. You kena faham tu, both need to determine, both need to understood, both need to consistently met. So in your system letter, you have to determine what are customer requirement, what are the legal requirement, and you must make sure that how you want to make sure that all those requirements are understood, and then you must make sure that how you want to meet those requirements. You must specify in your system. Yeah. Okay. Understanding the requirement is one thing, but you must think, how to fulfill those requirements. Okay. And then the top management also must make sure that the risk and opportunity, that affect the product and service, are determined and addressed. Okay, the risk and opportunity are determined and addressed. You have to determine the risk and opportunity, of your system, of your product and service, and then you have to address those risks and opportunity in your system. Okay. Then top management also must make sure that the focus on enhancing customer satisfaction is maintained. You must maintain customer satisfaction. Yeah, that is the requirement. But how you want to maintain customer satisfaction ataupun enhance customer satisfaction? How you want to make sure that top management is maintain or enhance customer satisfaction? Hmm. Hmm. But how? How? Okay. So that is the answer that I want. Yeah. We can get customer feedback. Yeah. To make sure that we can enhance their satisfaction. Yeah. Kita kena ada proactive, not reactive. Yeah. Proactive means kita tak payah tunggu sehingga customer complain. Ya, kita akan dapatkan information first. Hello? Ya. Boleh juga saya dalam masa setengah jam je, saya tengah ada kelas ni. Ya, okey. Okay. Alright. So how you want to make sure that the customer focus are maintained? Yeah. Customer focus. You can enhance customer focus, customer satisfaction. All those you need to address in your system. Yeah, you can put it in your quality manual later. Okay. All right. So that is 5.1.5.1.2. Okay, 5.1.2, and then 5.2. 5.2. Siapa buat 5.2? Okay. Right. Continue. 5.2.
Hello, betul dengar? Betul.
Ya, dengar. Syafiq.
Okay, for 5.2 is policy. So the 5.2.1 is establishing the quality policy. The top management shall establish, implement and maintain the quality policy that appropriate to the purpose and content to the organization and support its strategy direction. So the example is the criterion for quality policy is like also the 9001 in 2008 plus 5.3 quality policy criteria. The company should look for proof that top management was involved in the development of the quality policy and that being reviewed and maintained. So B is provide the framework for setting quality objective. So for example, when a company chooses to concentrate on consumer who trust creative good, a quality target could be the number of patent. So the last point is include the commitment to satisfy the applicable requirement. So the policy should be written in a way that promote quality improvement. It should be re-evaluated and likely updated in order to achieve the higher goal. The senior management also should sign the policy that agree to prevent the failure, obligation and legal standard, promoting continuous improvement, adopting best practice, setting measurable and attainable performance, and lastly is providing resources to achieve the target.
Okay, good. All right. So of course, the policy top management must make sure that the policy number one is established. You must establish your own policy. Number two, you must make sure that you implement those policy that you have established. Number three, you must maintain the policy. When you see a word maintain means you need to review and revise if necessary. Okay, so those are the things that the top management must make sure that they do. Yeah. They must establish, they must implement, and they must maintain. So the quality policy should be appropriate, should have a provide framework for setting objective and so on lah. Should include commitment to satisfy applicable requirement, should include commitment to continual improvement and so on. Yeah, like a statement, like a statement of a policy, dasar policy, and dasar quality policy. Okay, so every company should have your own policy. Every company should have your own quality policy. Yeah, and your quality policy must fulfill A, B, C, and D. Okay, and you must make sure that your policy is maintained as well. Yeah, you must how to maintain, maybe through management review and so on. Yeah? You can address in your system later. Okay. So by the way, do you know what is quality policy of UUM? What is UUM quality policy? Have you searched in the internet? You find can you find UUM quality policy? Anybody can give UUM quality policy? Hello. You tak search dalam internet ke UUM quality policy? What is quality policy of UUM for ISO 9000? By the way, UUM is a certified university for ISO 9000. So we got ISO 9000 certificate year 2015. Yeah. So what is quality policy of UUM? Hello.
Tak tahu saya.
Tak tahu. You all ni dah berapa lama you duduk kat UUM? Semester 6, semester 4, semester 5. Ini bukan first semester. You cuma belajar tapi you tak tahu apa ada kat UUM. UUM ada ISO. By the way, UUM is a certified ISO 9001 institution. Okay. So what is your what is the UUM quality policy? Siapa boleh jawab?
IPQ ni, betul. Institute of Quality Management.
Itu IPQ.
Oh, bukan.
Kita nak quality policy. Quality policy for UUM. Quality policy UUM. You cannot search. You cannot find. Tak ada lah.
Tak import kan?
Tak jumpa. Cari jalan tak jumpa. Okay, you stop sharing Ustaz. Nanti saya tunjuk you. You stop sharing Ustaz.
Boleh.
Okay. I share ni lah. Sekejap lah. Okay. Boleh nampak tak ni? Ini boleh nampak siapa hadir kan? Ini boleh nampak siapa hadir ini. Betul tak?
Betul. Nampak.
Okay. Okay. So, kita pergi UUM portal, kita pergi ISO document, kita pergi MS ISO 9001 year 2015. Okay, dalam UUM kita ada 4 level lah. Kita ada 4 level of document. Ya. Kita ada quality manual, kita ada procedure, kita ada arahan kerja. Boleh nampak ni ya? You can see ya. We have quality manual, we have procedure, we have work instruction, and we have reference and quality record. Okay? You can see or not? In your assignment letter, you need to develop your quality manual level 1. You need to develop, I think, 4 procedures, if I'm not mistaken. 4 procedures and 4 work instruction, if I'm not mistaken. So you go back to your assignment. So you need to write quality manual, procedure, and work instruction. For UUM, we have 1 quality manual, 148 procedures, and 145 quality work instruction. But for you, I just request you to write 1 quality manual, 4 procedures, and 4 work instruction, if I'm not mistaken. Itu saja. Okay, so kita tengok quality policy. Kita tengok dasar quality for UUM. Okay, this is the quality manual. This is quality manual, okay? So the quality manual UUM, we have 66 pages. 66 pages for quality manual. Okay, then we want to see the policy. Policy, what page? Want to see the policy. The quality manual, all the documentation for UUM is all in BI, in Malay. This is 5.0. This is 5.2. Can you see this, everybody? Hello.
Yes, betul.
So this is the policy. This is the dasar quality, the policy of quality policy of UUM. So it says that kami warga Universiti Utara Malaysia bertekad dan beriltizam untuk membudayakan kualiti dengan memberi perkhidmatan yang menepati kehendak pelanggan dan stakeholders. Kami juga secara berterusan sentiasa menyediakan pendidikan dan sistem pengurusan kualiti yang unggul berlandaskan piawaian yang ditetapkan ke arah melahirkan sumber tenaga manusia yang menjadikan ilmu, budi, bakti sebagai nilai hidup. So itulah dasar polisi untuk UUM. So later, you also need to develop your own quality policy for your own company. Okay, let's say, does this policy meet A, B, C, and D for your requirement? You can see, does it appropriate to the purpose of organization? Does it appropriate to UUM? I think yes. It's appropriate to UUM context. Does it provide a framework for setting quality objective? I think yes. Does it include a commitment to satisfy applicable requirement? Yes. Memberikan perkhidmatan yang menepati kehendak pelanggan dan stakeholders? Yes. Does it include a commitment to continual improvement? Yes. Secara berterusan. Kami secara berterusan, continual improvement. So maknanya in one sentence or two sentences, your policy should comply A, B, C, and D of the requirement. Then only we can say that your policy is established. How to maintain and how to implement and how to maintain, you have to address later lah. Okay, so that is quality policy. That is 5.2. 521. Okay, any question? Any question? If no question, I think we stop at 521. Later, the next meeting we will discuss 522 and so on. Yeah. Any question? Balik you make sure that you read and you understand and you know you by now you should know already what you need to do. Yeah. First, you must understand the standard. Number two, you must address the requirement of the standard in your system letter. Okay, any question? So today we stop at 5.2. Next Wednesday we will continue. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. So if there any question you want to ask, now you need to start working on your assignment already. Yeah. So the deadline is 5th of May. So you got about 1 month to one month to complete. Yeah. You must submit before the midterm break, before Hari Raya break. Yeah. So then you boleh berhari raya dengan tenang. Lepas hari raya, you continue dengan assignment number 2. Alright. Any question?